Hello everybody, welcome back. Long time no see. Listen, I'll be real. Like earlier this year, I sat down and wrote down a bunch of my 2024 goals, okay? And some of them were for this platform, were for YouTube. I really said that I would be posting every Wednesday, and for a while, I met that. Okay, but looking back, I am not happy with some of those videos. I am, but I'm not, you know what I mean? Like they could have been better if I had the extra time to film or whatever. So instead of rushing it and trying to put something out every week, I'm gonna kind of just do it as I please, you know? So it might be twice a month, it might be 3 times, it might be 4 times a month, I don't know, but it will for sure hopefully be on Wednesdays and or Thursdays, because sometimes I will film on Wednesday and then editing will take a bit longer, and so I'll have to post on Thursday. So it just depends. When I was thinking about what I could film this week, so even though I've been on these platforms for a while, I feel like there's not a whole lot of chances to like get to know me personally, like on a deeper level. So I was thinking, and then I was like, oh, what if I make a video about like dating, you know? We could talk a bit about my experiences, and then I also put a poll up on Instagram, and I was like, hey, like if you have any questions for me, like, you know, shoot. And so we have some questions to answer there. A little nerve-wracking, but exciting nonetheless. As I was going through the poll on Instagram, I realized a lot of the questions were kind of the same, just asked differently. So I did kind of, and I wrote them down so we could talk about it first. And then towards the end, I'll just kind of scroll and try to answer as many as I can. And I'm not gonna lie, I have filmed this video a good 3 or 4 times. No, this is my 3rd time. Because the first time, I had over like 2 hours of footage. I was talking way too much. And then the second time, oh, and also the first time, I had a hair that was stuck in my lip gloss, and it was there the entire time. And as much as I tried to like push forward and just keep editing, I said, no, I can't deal with this. I'm gonna start again. So I did it again yesterday, and then like, I didn't like. So I was like, you know what? I will do it again today, and this will be it. This will be it. So I got a mirror there. No hair. We are good. Okay. But also before we begin, I also want to put out a little disclaimer that like I've been on this earth for 26 years, almost 27. And I've been in 3 kind of long-term-ish relationships, but not very. So what I'm saying is if you're coming to me for advice on a relationship that has lasted like 10 years or like something crazy like that, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I hope you tag along. Maybe you'll be able to take something away from this video. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, I think the longest relationship I've been in is 2 years. I think. I'm pretty sure it was 2 years. Maybe a little over. I can't remember exactly. But that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so the first question was, am I single / am I dating / if so, why is it so private? I am single. I am dating, but in the sense that I'm open to it, but I don't necessarily have a person that I'm like dating, if that makes sense. But it's fine. And then why is it so private? So, okay, it's already nerve-wracking doing what I do, you know, like living your life on the internet. And it's another thing to like bring someone else into the equation, introduce them, and then realize later that they're not all for you, or like it just doesn't work out. Like it's very So I've only had 1 relationship since I've kind of gotten bigger on these platforms. I really wanted to keep it like public but private, so like you know that I'm in a relationship but you don't know who the person is. Like I wanted that so bad. However, and this is just my experience, the person wanted it to be known that it was like him, so it was kind of known if you really paid attention. And yeah, so moving forward it will probably be the same, but I'll try my damnedest to make sure it stays like that for a while. You just never know if someone has true intentions or not. But I think later down the road when I meet the right person, I won't have any problems like sharing, because I'll know, you know what I mean? I feel like, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Okay, so a lot of people asked if I was on dating apps / like how do I feel about them. I am on a dating app. It is Hinge, but it's one of those things where like I'll get bored and I'll download it like a couple weeks, and then I'll delete it for like a couple months, and then I'll redo it, and it's like a cycle, you know what I mean? I definitely don't have a problem with them. Actually, my very first boyfriend, and I said that because he actually took like my V card, I met him on Tinder. And we dated for like 6 months, you know, and it was actually like, I'm not gonna lie, I liked him a lot. Like our very first date was so chill. We met up at a coffee shop and we ended up wearing matching outfits. Okay, matching outfits. So it was like brown boots, right? But mine were like knee high, his were like, you know, it was kind of, and then we had maroon pants and a white shirt on, but mine was like, because you know, like that. It was just so cute. People literally meet their future husbands, wives, whatever on there. So I feel like it's definitely a possibility, you know, and I don't think it's a bad thing. In my opinion, the type of dating app you download is going to determine what your experience is, you know what I mean? Obviously you have to be cautious, okay? Do you know how many people out there have gotten hurt because they meet people like through these apps and then something bad happens? You just got to be careful, you know, be safe. But for the most part, I do think that they're all right and I don't have a problem with them. So someone asked, am I dating for intention or fun? Girl, I want to say intention, okay? I feel like I've had fun in the past, you know, but I am a certified lover girl. I love love, okay? My heart cannot handle situationships. It cannot handle flings and one night stands. I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, I did it once, one night stand, but we ended up dating later on. So I don't know if I can even count that, okay? Do I get nervous when dating? Yes. Yes, I do. I get nervous even in the talking stage if I really like you. I get all squirrely and I can't help it, but it is what it is. And then eventually, if we move past that stage and we continue to hang out, I will be more comfortable and I'll be able to be more myself. But I think it's normal. I do try to look at it now in a different light. Like, I try not to put the person, this is gonna sound bad, but like on a pedestal, you know what I mean? That way I can make sure, like, if I see the red flags, I can be like, ooh. I try to think of it now as like, we're just two people hanging out, really. That's what it is. That's what dating is, you know? You're just hanging out, trying to figure out if you vibe, you know? You might get another date after that, you might not. It is what it is. Some people have asked to be anonymous, so I'm not gonna show like the question. This person asked, what is the difference, I guess in my opinion, between talking and dating? For me, I feel like talking is that beginning stage when you're getting to know each other and you're flirting. You know, you might see each other out and about, maybe it's like the gym, maybe it's whatever. You might have a little flirtatious touch here and there. But I feel when it actually switches over to dating is when one person actually asks the other person out. And then you guys continue, hopefully, to go on dates if you vibe. And that's when you all are dating. And then I feel like when you're in that process after a few dates, then you could talk about maybe being exclusive for a while, which is like where you're only focusing on each other. And then eventually you become official. I feel like that is like a good, you know what I mean? I need to quit saying that. You know what I mean? Okay, another common question. What is my type? So when I think about my type, this might be a bit odd, but I think about 3 different categories. Okay, so the first is like their personality traits and morals, right? Then the second one is like, okay, how do they view relationships? Like, how do they treat me? You know, stuff like that. And then you got the physical stuff. For the personality, for like the morals, obviously I would prefer if you're a good human being. Hello. I would love them to be kind-hearted, family-oriented. I spend a lot of time with my family. I love family. I think there's nothing better than to spend time with them. So if I could be able to pluck someone and like drop them into like my circle of family and they're like fine and they vibe with them, like that means so much to me. I think it's the worst when your person doesn't vibe with your family. I think that's like the worst feeling. It puts like a negative cloud over the relationship when they don't mix, you know? Hardworking, goal-oriented as far as like how they view relationships. I want them to be looking for something more serious. I want them to kind of love. I really want like the love letters, the flowers and like stuff like that. I tell people that and they're like, ah, that's only in books. No, it's not, because I talk to some people in person and they say that they have that. And then as far as like physical stuff, I'm not gonna lie, I love curly hair, I love light eyes, I like it if they're a bit taller. I did get a lot of questions like, would I date a short guy? I would, as long as I could still wear heels and they're just like a bit taller than I am, I feel. But you can never say never. I've learned in dating. So okay, I got some of these questions too. Would I ever date a girl? Okay, now listen, hear me out. Okay, I think women are beautiful. I feel like there's like a line, you know, you're like straight, there's like this line where you might, you know, I've had experiences in the past where I've kind of dipped my finger over there and I'm like, oh, this is quite nice, but I've never like fully immersed my body over that line. And I would never want to like mess with someone's head or make them feel bad if I do and I realize like I don't like it over there. At this current time, I've only dated men. I only see myself really dating men, but if there was an opportunity where like, you know, it kind of felt right and like it just kind of happened, I would go over there. But until then, I'm happy keeping my like pinky toe over there and just being a little curious about it. Another question was, would I date someone with kids? Again, I can never say never. Personally, I would love, okay, because later down the road, say I meet someone, the first time I have a kid, I want it to be the first time they also have a kid. I just want us to experience that together. Okay, learn together and all that stuff. But you never know what can happen, okay? I could meet the love of my life and he could have like 3 babies and I'd be like, all right, how does rejection make you feel and how do you handle it? I used to take rejection really hard and sometimes I feel like I still revert back to like the way I used to think. when you realize that everyone has been rejected at least once, or they will be at some point in some way, shape, or form, I don't know, I feel like it allows me to swallow it better. It's never easy when you like someone and you kind of get the vibe that they don't feel the same way back, or whatever they tell you or whatever. It's never easy to hear, but as they say, rejection is redirection, so it is fine. And then again, with not taking it personally, there could be numerous reasons why rejection happens. It could be simply because you're not their cup of tea, which is fine. Everyone's allowed to have their preferences, or maybe they're just not ready for a relationship, or maybe there's so many different reasons why someone could reject you. But I think as long as you just, if like those negative thoughts start to invade your head, that it's not you, like don't take it personally, it just happens. On to the next. Okay, this person asked, which I thought was interesting, so I wrote it down. Does having relations the first time you meet a guy make him not value you? And I wrote it down because I feel like this is an important lesson. And if this resonates with you, if this has ever been you or will be you, if a guy can turn around and make you feel bad about deciding to go that route whenever, that is not the guy for you. I feel like that speaks more on his character than yours, because let's be honest, doing that is a part of the human experience, okay? And as much as I hate to bring it up, it is a double standard and I hate that. But if that man thinks that way about you when you allowed him to like enter, he is not for you. So move on. Find someone who can think not like that. It's just not good, okay? How do you know if they're the one? I wrote this one down because I thought it was so funny, because I am still single, so I really don't know. But what I assume happens is y'all are just all for each other. There's no entertaining anyone on the outside. I feel like there's like a sense of like home, like this is where I'm meant to be. That's what I can assume. People have asked me about icks, and I can't think of any like right off the top of my head. I mean, I can. Long fingernails that are jaggedy and dirty. That irritates me. Don't let me see that. But I literally can't think of it anymore at this current time, but I bet they'll pop up later, so I'll bring it up if I can think of it, like on the spot. But I'm gonna get my phone out and we're gonna go through some of y'all's stuff and see, you know. One moment. Okay, there's literally so many. Oh, I got a lot of questions about long distance relationships, / would I ever do one, / how can I make it work, okay? I have been in one long distance relationship. It happened to be like the longest relationship I've ever been in at this current time. And I feel like in the beginning, okay, so I met the person before they went into the military. We dated for like a year, I think, or maybe like 8 months or something. And then he went in there. So we were like long distance after that. And I feel like in the beginning, it was just fine. It was just fine because I feel like if both people want it, it'll work out no matter what, because you love each other. You know what the goal is, and it's to make it through this period where you're apart. And I would get creative. I would, you know, send him care packages or whatever, and inside there would be like a theme. There was one time for Halloween where I printed out sheets of blank pumpkins. Okay, so instead of carving pumpkins, we drew on pumpkins over FaceTime. I sent him crayons too or something like that. I felt like it was pretty fun. So there's ways to get creative and still have those moments where you're like going on dates, or I've seen someone like FaceTime their partner and like cook something together but like apart, you know, so they learn something new and they're like doing it together. I think that's really cute. You just gotta get creative, but like I said, if you both really want it, it shouldn't be a problem. There has to be obviously another level of respect, but I think it is possible. Would I ever do it again? I don't think so. It was really hard on me, not gonna lie. Again, not in the beginning. Problems kind of came up over time and it got really hard. I did feel like really bad towards the end of that one, which is really sad because I thought that man was the one. I can't even lie to you. So that was really hard. Even like, not gonna lie, a couple years after, I was still kind of thinking, perhaps, you know, whatever. Some of you put like some really kind comments in here and it has me blushing over here. Okay, so thank you for that. Okay, this is a good one. How to approach a girl at the gym if it is appropriate. So here's how I feel like it should be handled. Now, it might take some time, but I feel like this is like a respectful way, and also to ensure that the person also kind of wants it. So I think first, you know, you want to see if y'all kind of make the eye contact across the gym. If you feel that little electricity, I love it. I love it. And then you kind of do that for like maybe like a week or two, maybe add in a little, you know, and then eventually if like it's being reciprocated, one day you could just walk up. I had someone do that semi recently, and not gonna lie, it was my gym crush. And I was like, he said something like, I just want to say I really like your outfit. How long have you been lifting? He asked me kind of questions about that. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I had already creeped on this kid. So I can't even remember if I really asked him questions back, because I kind of already knew in my head. Yeah, I feel like as long as you're respectful, as long as you take your time, and if you feel like it being reciprocated, you know, I feel like there shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, there are some people who might think that that's not the place to do it, but at least for me, that's like one of the few places that I go where I can actually meet people. So has there ever been a time you were treated poorly and yet still stayed? Yes. Yes, but I have since been in therapy, and I've been trying to work through those issues, because obviously it's something deeply rooted in me, where I feel like it's okay and that I deserve it, or that I did. It's not an easy pill to swallow when you realize you're in a cycle of that. Not that every guy that I dated was like that, but there have been some that I feel like have taken advantage of my kindness and the fact that I wear my heart on my sleeve. It's just not good. I feel like now that I've sifted through those problems and that I face them head on with my therapist, I'm able to kind of clock those things now quicker. So like I can like back away from the person if I feel like I'm headed down the same road that I have been on. Someone asked, how do I put myself out there? Because they haven't dated anyone in 2 years. Girl, I'm still trying to figure it out myself. With my job, I don't leave my home very often. Not only that, but I feel like a lot of my friends, my close friends, are in such different stages of life than I am. So they're married, or they have kids, or both. I don't know, it's just hard. So if you have any ideas, definitely drop them down below. I would love to read them. I have thought about this. The stuff that I'm into, I don't know if necessarily I will find. There's a place in downtown Cincinnati that offer like clay classes, like where you go and make pottery. I thought about going to one of those, you know, so maybe you could research what's around you that you're actually interested in, and perhaps you'll run into somebody. So I thought about that. And then also my mom really wants to join this country club, like let me marry a rich man. I feel like maybe something like that could be somewhere where you meet somebody. Obviously there's always that chance when you go into like a bar or something, but at the same time people are like, well, typically when you meet people there, they just want to bang. And I'm like, maybe, but you never know, because I'd be up in there trying to peep the crowd, being like, okay, Mr. Husband. Not really, kinda. What helped you heal from your last breakup? Definitely spending time with my family and friends. Okay, I thank every single one of them, because I was a mess after the last one. Like, I mean, obviously my therapist too, but my siblings spent nearly every day of the summer with me. We would play tennis, they would get me outside, they would just be around, so I wasn't fully like in my head, you know. Obviously I still allowed myself to cry. There was one time we were playing tennis out there and I just started bawling. I was like, what the actual, like what even was that? But they knew, and they let me feel when I needed to feel. They let me vent when I needed to vent. So I think as long as you surround yourself with a good group of people and you have that support system, it helps a lot. I also got back into hobbies that like I kind of pushed to the side, and or I found new hobbies. I started working on myself more. Girl was hitting the gym more. No excuses. And with time, you know, and the help of my therapist, we are fine. Someone said thoughts on mama's boys. To be honest, I never had a bad experience with a mama's boy, but I've heard some horror stories. I haven't had a bad experience with a mama's boy. I think I've only dated like one, maybe two. It's never been a bad experience. We cool with a date at the Cheesecake Factory. I love the Cheesecake Factory. Worst date you've ever been on? I think I might have mentioned this before. I matched with somebody on Tinder. I think this was like a few years ago. We had talked so much on Tinder and the vibes were there, but when we got in person, maybe it's because I was so nervous, maybe because we talked about literally everything prior, there was like not much being said during this date. So I was looking around, like I'm so down for like a nice calming silence here and there throughout a date, but this was like a lot. It was a lot. Would you ever try to make it work with a cheater? Here's how I feel personally. I would never try, only because I look around at those around me who have experienced this, and it makes me feel very sad, because even though they might be over it past that point, the one who got cheated on always has it like ingrained there. So problems always stem back to that. So if their partner is doing something, there's always like a voice in their mind, okay, well, are they up to something bad? Like, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, there's just something always gonna be there, and you're gonna have to wonder, are they gonna do it again? Are they doing it again now? Like, I cannot imagine living in that. I can't imagine living in that. Like, point blank period. Like, it makes me feel very sad, because like, why are you doing that? Those who cheat, why are you doing that? And they're like, oh, it's psychology. But people get hurt and grow up in shit situations all the time. Not everyone resorts to that. So I just don't understand why you would be selfish enough to like put and ultimately hurt your person. Like, I just don't understand that. I can't. How do you get used to not having another person? Again, I feel like the same thing that I mentioned earlier with like how I've kind of healed over like my last relationship. Like, do the same thing, you know? You want to focus more on yourself, focus more on those around you who are there for you and who love you. You know what I mean? I feel like that helps a lot. And also, don't be scared to be alone. Take yourself out, spend time with yourself, be by yourself. I know that I forgot to mention that, but you don't understand how amazing it feels to be fully comfortable to leave your house, go get food by yourself, go shopping by yourself, like without overthinking anything. I feel like that's such a good quality to have, because let's be real, no one is permanent. So I feel like if you have that, if you're used to that, whenever you lose somebody, it's not going to hit as hard. You know you'll be okay. You've been single before, you've been content by yourself before, and you'll be like that again once the hurt kind of passes. Even if you're in a relationship, continue to be an individual. You know what I mean? Like, be able to be. Biggest advice in dating. First, when you're in the talking stage, okay? And I bring this up first because I feel like it's a constant lesson the universe is trying to teach me, and at this point I'm like, I don't need another one. Like, I've learned it enough. Send me another one. And I'm like, do not do it. I understand. When you're getting to know someone, I feel like we've all been in the situation where we like someone, and how do we act? We want to get to know that person, whether that's texting, calling, hanging out, you know. Obviously we are adults, so we have our own lives, but we want to try to make it work. We want to try to invest our time to get to know that person. And I feel like sometimes people come into your life and maybe they have interest in you in the beginning, but something happens along the way. Maybe it's because they just are no longer feeling it. Maybe it's because, like for me, with what I do, I feel like there's a shift in the dynamic of like man and woman. Like, I don't know, it's really weird. But there's multiple reasons as to why it happens, but the person pulls away. But they fully don't pull away. And in fact, they might do little things here and there to kind of keep you there, like breadcrumb you, kind of. That person is not for you, okay? Not for you. And I know some people are like, well, I waited it out and eventually we started dating and now we're still together. Okay, fine. But I feel like I am so gosh darn tired of that lesson. I've noticed that with these people, yes, there's multiple reasons, but one of them could also be the fact that they like the attention that you give them, or they like the feeling that they get like talking to you, but they don't want to make it official. They don't want to. And that just really burns my biscuit, okay? It's like they're shelving you, you know? Either they might come back later, or maybe perhaps they think there's something else better, but they want to keep you there for whatever reason, and that just really irritates me. So if you find yourself in that position, there was one comment where someone was like, hey, he keeps texting me hi, but when I respond, he doesn't reply. Girl, go, move on. And I'm saying this like not to make you feel any kind, it's because I can feel the frustration because I've been through it. Move on. Please listen to me. Please listen to me. Because if a person wants you, they are going to make you kind of like a priority. Obviously, yeah, we all have lives. We all have whatever. But you know what I'm saying. You make that person know that you're interested. If you feel confused, it's a no-go. There's a reason. And get out. Get out, okay? And if, yeah, later they realize that, oh, I done fucked up because she's not around anymore, and they come back and they actually like try, yes, give them a second chance. Otherwise, save yourself some hurt feelings and just move on. Move on. What's another one? Also, back to the list of negotiables and non-negotiables. Make sure you have that before you start dating, because it's really easy if you're getting to know someone and you think they're so cute, and like you kind of, your judgment kind of gets clouded because of it sometimes, I feel. So if you have that list, you can look at it and be more analytical when it comes to choosing somebody, so you're not wasting your time. You don't want to get to know someone, start dating, and then realize your morals don't align or something like super important. Like, that's like the worst. The worst. But yeah, those are like the two big ones that I can think of off the top of my head. How do you know if you're ready to date after a breakup? If you feel excited about the possibility of getting to know someone else, or you know, you no longer kind of feel so much hurt when you think about your last person, you are ready, my friend. Obviously, take your time, dabble in it a bit. I feel like that's when you know. When you know, you know. Am I a jealous person? I can be. Oh, a lot of people asked about red flags. Like, what are some red flags? If they only try to communicate with you through Snapchat, as you're getting to know each other, if they try to be sexual too early on, if they hate women, if everything that comes out of their mouth is negative about somebody else or something, making fun or just being judgmental, I hate that. We don't have time for that. If they're mean to random people out and about, you know, workers, servers, Hate that. Can't do it. A red flag for me, I'm sorry, this might be a little controversial too, is if they're stingy with their money. Okay, not saying that they should be handing you out dollar bills, but like if you ask them to go stop at the store for some medicine, they should not come back with said medicine if you're sick and be like, hey, that was $7, pay me back. There's certain scenarios you want someone who will provide, who wants to care for you, who wants to shower you sometimes if possible. Like, you don't want someone who's going to make you feel bad about them spending $12 at Burger King. Like, no. How do you know when it's time to let go? How do you know it's time to let go even through how do you know it's time to let go how do you know when it's time to let go even though you still love them? Damn. There's a quote from one of my favorite shows. Samantha Jones says it. She's like, if you're walking around while you're in a relationship and you're mainly like this, it's time to go, okay? You should not be walking around feeling sad and mad all the time when you're in a relationship. I feel like a person should add to your life, you know? And I get it, you have your quarrels, you might argue sometimes, it's normal. But if you're walking around feeling angry and upset like 95% of the time, 80 to 90% of the time, I feel like that is not the relationship for you. But at the same time, I do know that marriages go through some rough patches and it just takes a minute to get through it. So I guess it's up to you to figure out how long you're willing to, but again, that's like marriage. So that's a different story. But if you're just dating, I would think twice if you're upset more than you are happy. How do you know if you're dating or in a situationship? Girl, if he has not asked you to be official, you are in a situationship. A person should ask you officially if they, and this is why I can't do situationships, because it's so easy nowadays to find yourself in that situation. So I say it from the get-go. I'm like, no, like I don't do that. Or if we're hanging out getting to know each other, I'll be like, no funny business, because I don't want to end up like that. Even though in my head I would love to like get down and boogie. Let's be honest, again, human experience, everyone likes it. Usually I would love to do that. I feel like if they haven't asked you officially, that's a look at her. I've had this before on here. It's just so good. Okay, sorry about that. Someone else asked, do I wait to get intimate? Like I said, there's been a couple times where I haven't, but as of recently I've been making sure that is standard I set for myself, only because I feel like that could also cloud judgment, you know? So I want to make sure that I know the person pretty well before I allow myself to move forward with them in that way. Plus, I feel like there's nothing more attractive than when a person has, like, dare I say, like, discipline, especially like sexual discipline, because I feel like, I don't know, it just shows that the other person also wants to get to know you more. It also has like good intentions with you, doesn't just see you for that. And I also like the build up. Like, there's like a buildup that can happen, and it can, you know, come through with like flirting, light touches, eye contact, good conversation. And then when it finally happens, hopefully you feel safe enough, and it's just like overall like a great experience. But that's just a new thing I've set for myself. And like I said, if I'm hanging out with someone and I feel like it could, or maybe they think that it could lead in that direction, I make sure to say like, no funny business, like literally. Have you ever had difficulty maintaining friendships while in a romantic relationship? Yes, and it definitely has been a problem in the past. I think it's awesome when you get to know someone, but I think it's also important, like I said, to still be that individual, to still, you know, put your love in like your other people as well, the ones who were there before this person and who will probably still be there after the person, you know what I mean? Recently I've made sure to make a point like to tell people, like, call me out if you feel like I'm not giving you the attention that you deserve, or I'm slacking a little bit, like, call me out. How do I stop myself from falling for guys so quickly? Girl, if I really like someone, I'm not gonna lie, I like someone. I've recently learned to like hold back a bit and not, like I said, put them on a pedestal, so it's kind of been easier for me to not, you know. And I hate that this is even like the world we live in, where we have to, well, not that I have to, because I cannot play games, like I have no interest in it. I do notice that I do kind of pull back a little bit if I feel any kind of way, or you can pace yourself with how much you talk to them, how much you hang out with them. Make sure you're still reaching out to those other people, hanging out with them, so that way there's not such a disruption too in your daily life if it doesn't work out. The longest relationship I've been in, again, 2 years, I want to say, around. If I asked to hold her hand on the first date, would that be too soon? I don't think so. I like holding hands personally. Maybe you could see in a roundabout way. No, actually don't. With one of the people that I dated. So the first 3 dates, he didn't even touch me. okay? Towards the end of that last date, or actually I think it was the end of the second date, beginning of the third date, I was thinking to myself, does he even, like, is he a virgin? And I was like, does he even like me? Like, so I ended up initiating the first kiss, and that was after the third date. And when we finally actually started dating officially, we talked about it, and he's like, that's because I didn't want to frick it up. Like, I didn't want to do anything to mess it up. And I was like, oh my god, I'm crazy for thinking like all these other things when he was literally just being a gentleman. And I feel like that is a standard now that I want, you know. I want them to have enough respect for me to not do that. And I also feel on the flip side, it makes me want it more. Like, it makes me, again, I feel like having discipline is just hot. So if you have discipline and respect, I'm like, but also make it known that you know, have interest, you know, obviously. Just be respectful about it. And I feel like, do you see yourself getting married? I do, hopefully, kind of. It's just like, again, I think we can all agree dating nowadays is not the same as it used to be. People have asked about like an age gap, how old would I date, how young would I date? I kind of ran together. I can't really say much about an age gap. I've never experienced anything like that. I think the oldest I would date would probably be like 35, 36, but the youngest would probably be like 24, 25. What are your love languages? Oh, quality time, words of affirmation. Nope. Quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service. Oh, quality time, physical touch. It's a tie between words of affirmation and acts of service. And then the last one would be like gift giving. Even though, like, not gonna lie, I love a good gift. I love flowers. Bring me some flowers. Opinions on dating coworkers. Okay, my very first boyfriend, before I ever got like intimate, but he was like my very first. We actually were co-workers at this wedding venue place, and oh my gosh, it was kind of fun, not gonna lie. We like make out, like, and like in like hidden corners and like in the shadows. We'd be like, it was kind of fun. But then it got real awkward when we had to break up, and I would still see him. It was so awkward. Oh my god. Oh, actually, I don't recommend. Ideal first date. I think dinner and an activity is the perfect first date. Okay, if y'all have the time, you go eat some food, and then you go do something fun to kind of work off that feelingness of full. And what? You work off that feeling of being full. Bowling, Topgolf, dancing, axe throwing. Yeah, but make sure, especially if you're the dude and you're planning this, I love surprises. So whenever it comes down to it, I like to be surprised, like, you know. But if it is, make sure you tell the person, hey, obviously dress nice, but make sure you can move. You're able to move around, you know, don't wear heels. Oh, okay, we'll do. I got that text one time. I said, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm like pulling around like where the roundabout is.
Okay, so we're gonna have to kind of wrap it up because I didn't think, and again, sorry if I didn't get to your question. Or someone asked if I'm going on dates often. Not really. I've been on one date since my last relationship ended. If you could give your younger self advice, what would it be? It's better to be single than be unhappy with someone. It's better to be single than be treated poorly by someone. It's better to be single than to be used by someone. Sometimes it's just better to be single. And it's okay. Society makes you feel like you gotta get married and da-da-da by a certain age, and that's not everyone's timeline. If someone is interested in you, but not interested because you don't have a 5-year plan, oh wow. Well, you can't be mad at them, because that's probably one of their non-negotiables, is they want their person to be very driven, it sounds like. So while that might be annoying, I kind of get it. And it is a little cray-cray, because like sometimes it takes a person a minute to realize what they want to do. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, you know what I mean? That's just something. Once you accept that, I feel like it makes dating a whole lot easier. Do you get nervous when dating? Like nervous, redness, or sweating? No, not really. I make sure I put hella deodorant on. But I think, yeah, I'm basically gonna go with my sister to get like another bookshelf. If you looky over here, my bookshelf is pretty full. So I'm gonna get another one and stick it right there. Stick it right there, put my makeup in there. That way my books can have room to breathe, you feel? So I'm excited about that. I was gonna make a YouTube video about that, but I think I'm just gonna do a TikTok. So anyway, I had a lot of fun. I hope I was able to give back in some way with all the heartbreak that I've been through thus far in life. But yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you here soon. Hopefully next Wednesday. We will see. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Thank you. Bye.